they go. Ready?
We just wanted to acknowledge the year that was 2020, and what a year we might add. Beginning with our home of Australia being burnt from one of the largest bushfires our country has ever seen, and the global pandemic that has affected millions of lives around the world, and all the other events that have shaped a year which will be read about in history books to come.
A year filled with so much negativity didn't stop our hearts from being filled right back up with one of the most beautiful and magical events of our lives, the birth of our firstborn daughter Hunter. But before we get to that, let's rewind back to see the events that shaped our year.
In January, as we brought in the new year with our little gender reveal fireworks with our Good Friends the Grin series in the outskirts of Canada, we decided to retake the steps we took during our very first year of flying the nest, as we explored the Canadian Rockies, but swapped our crystal blue lakes from our first visit in 2015 for red warm onesies, snow-covered mountains, and of course there is joy to be found in the cold of winter.
We made sure we warmed up in our frosted wooden cabins, drove along the Icefields Parkway to walk across an ice bubble lake, and a frozen river to end our time in Jasper National Park.
From there, we said goodbye to the Canadian snow to do our annual pop into Jessica's parents' house in the warm tropics of Queensland. The Valentines had not been in the same room together for 5 years, so it was extra special to be there for Jessica's mom's 60th.
At this point in time, very few knew we were having a baby girl, so we celebrated together with as many unique reveals as we could think of. We ended the first month of our year jet-setting off to Fiji to have a baby moon. We spent our days swimming in crystal clear waters and relaxing by the beach as our baby girl grew bigger.
Jess had way too many coconuts, and we even spent the night on our own private island. As February rolled through, we found the cheapest flights out of Fiji was actually back to Australia. So we road tripped through the south of Queensland, going through the Glasshouse Mountains, which a very pregnant Jess climbed.
Look at Jess, I'm so proud of my wife. 6 months pregnant, in a dress, about to climb to the top of a mountain.
Before staying the night in a train and a tropical tiny home.
Like we did once again at the start of our Flying the Nest journey, we said goodbye to Australia and flew to Hawaii, the place where this all began all those years ago. Opting in to see more of the islands, we started on the big island filled with black sand beaches, some turtle friends, waterfalls, and one of our favourite experiences of the year so far, swimming with manta rays. It was so cool.
From there, we hopped over to Kauai to see the Grand Canyon of Hawaii. We had some delicious food, but ultimately we were there to relax and dream of the days we could travel with our baby girl. We were so ready for her to arrive.
If you told us that our next stop, the island of Oahu, would be our final international trip, we probably wouldn't have believed you back in February of 2020, as we got emotional reflecting on the incredible journey we had been on over the past 5 years.
So we just wanted to pause the video right here and take a moment to thank each and every one of you for being such an understanding and incredible community. So whether you joined us in 2015 or you joined us today, we just wanted to say a massive thank you, as none of this would have been possible without you. To bring a smile back to Jessie's face, we had a tasty acai bowl, even tastier street food, and swam with dolphins one last time before our final international flight of the year. As March approached and Jess hit 30 weeks pregnant, she said, "Stephen, I am not done traveling with this baby inside my belly. Can we just do one last trip before we settle down?" So we rented a van and headed towards the south of our home state of Western Australia.
Visiting some of our favourite spots, taking a dip in a natural jacuzzi, and having coffee with one of the most beautiful views, we attempted to learn the ropes of van life as we made our way through Albany and onto Esperance to see some of the most beautiful beaches the world has to offer, before ending our travelling journey with just the two of us in front of Stephen's old childhood home.
Tonight is the last night. Tomorrow, when we drive back to Perth, we'll officially be in Perth until the little one comes.
March was one of the biggest months of the year for us. The pandemic made its way to Australia, And not only did our country close itself off from the rest of the world, but our state closed the borders to the rest of Australia.
With nowhere to go and a baby on the way, we made one of the biggest decisions of our life, to buy a house to bring our little girl home to. We bought a house! We moved out of Stephen's parents' house, grabbed our lives that we had packed up all those years ago. From living out of small rooms, trains and planes, it was really incredible to have a place of our own.
So as we went into isolation, we scoured through old boxes and memories of the years gone by, building beds for big people and beds for little people. And for some reason, an old painting of a monkey seemed to have tickled Jess's pickle.
Look at that! Why do we have a balancing monkey?
Why just...
Without knowing how long we would be stuck in Perth, the home renovations began to make this place feel like ours. With April rolling in and the days ticking down before the big day, we celebrated Easter, got the nursery ready, attempted to install a car seat, and renovated our cubby house.
But May had a few big events. I surprised Jess with a quarantine 30th birthday by cooking her dinner filled with video messages of loved ones who couldn't be there. It's crazy to think that just 2 short months after going into isolation, restrictions were already starting to lift in our home state, which meant I could sneakily throw Jess the baby shower of her dreams, one which had to get cancelled. So after consulting her friends and family on what should go into it, I surprised Jess with one of the most emotional days of the year.
Oh my god!
Oh Jess, you're gonna make me cry, don't!
It's so much! June 2020 is the month that will go down in history as changing our lives forever. What seemed like the longest week of our lives as our baby girl decided she was comfy exactly where she was a week past due date, we packed our bags for the last time as just the 2 of us.
Due to the restrictions placed on the hospital, after Jess's induction, visiting hours are over.
That was so fast.
I know 1 hour is so quick, especially when I haven't seen you all day. Alright, I'm gonna go. She waited and went through labour all by herself until the early hours of the morning on Tuesday the 2nd of June. We watched the sunrise together, listened to Jack Johnson, and hung out like old times as we waited for our little girl to arrive. So with tears in our eyes, our little Hunter Jane came into the world later that evening. Hello. Welcome to the world.
Very cute. Do you want it in your right hand or your left hand?
Sure.
Right?
Yeah, in there sounds good. Oh.
Before we could bring her home, there was a few complications with Hunter and she was admitted into the baby ICU for the week. And though it was hard on us, there were still plenty of highlights, including giving her her first bath. Going home day was finally upon us, and as Stephen got the house ready, we finally brought Hunter into our home for some much needed family time.
And speaking of family, there were plenty of people who were excited to meet her, from my sister and parents to our friends and family. But unfortunately, due to the border closures, we had to make a few FaceTime calls to Jess's family.
Oh my gosh, she's so cute. She's so cute.
So the next week, we started to get adapted into parenthood, including braving it all as a family to leave the house for the very first time, whilst also dealing with the lack of sleep from all parties.
As the weeks went by so fast, July rolled through, and even though international and Australia-wide travel was banned, we really wanted to see what travel with Hunter was like, as it was a goal of ours for 2020. So we packed up the car and did a little family road trip down south to show our baby some of our favourite spots.
After some heated discussions on sleeping arrangements, this bed is way too big for you. So, what are we going to do about that? We experienced our first beach sunrise as a family, a favourite of mine and Jessica's. Hunter did great, and it was a little milestone for us as we realised we had struck gold. Our baby was so good to travel with, so we already were planning our next trip. But we needed a very important document first.
Your very first passport is a very important time, so a baby spa day was in order, massages, baby chinos, and a cute outfit was required before, well, let's say none of that hard work paid off, as this is how our photo turned out. As we waited for the passport to arrive, August rolled through and we couldn't believe that our little girl was already 2 months old. They say enjoy every moment as it goes by so fast, and we can certainly attest to that. As Hunter is still forming memories of her own, we decided that for her first year we would do bi-monthly updates on her milestones. Updates include making a new best friend, enjoying bath time, and working on her neck control.
August was another big milestone, going on a flight with a 2-month-old. With next to no cases here in Western Australia, we booked a trip up to Broome for a week-long getaway. Hunter slipped straight into vacay mode with cocktails by the pool, dips in the pool, and more sunsets by the beach. The trip continued as we packed up the car and drove up to a little spot called Eco Beach, which was a resort with some of the best views. Our days were filled with drinks on the beach, our afternoons on kayaks, and our mornings in the pool.
Before heading home, we decided to go camping with Hunter, where she started to play with toys. But no trip to Broome is complete without a pop into Matzo's brewery for some ice-cold ginger beer. September rolled by so quickly and we were already celebrating Stephen's first Father's Day. Hunter helped me pick out all his favourite snacks, plus I got him a painting done of the moment Stephen realised he was a dad. If you're new around here, you may know we are a little bit addicted to travel, and this was the perfect excuse for another fix, a little Father's Day getaway to the winery that we got married at.
So as Hunter turned 3 months, we started really getting into a routine with her. As we started taking her to swimming school, we picked strawberries together and dipped her little feet into the ocean for the first time. October was another big month filled with fun. We launched a podcast, a shop, an academy, and our second Fly in the Nest expeditions. Hunter turned 4 months old and she started to giggle and hasn't stopped since.
Say
Oh, and she started to roll over too and began being interested in what we were eating.
We surprised our friends with, yep, you can guess it, a little trip in Perth filled with pool dates, board games, and initiating Hunter into Jess's favourite hotel tradition, robes. October 16th came around and was another big birthday. Stephen joined the 30 Club, and I surprised him with a road trip to Exmouth. Happy birthday!
Oh my goodness.
Our friend lent us a caravan which he had never driven before, and as he learnt the ropes, we went swimming with seals, saw pink lakes, bathed in natural hot springs, and oh, did I mention we also swam with humpback whales?
It was so special as we realised we could travel as we used to. Our baby is always up for an adventure and a nap just as much as we are. The birthday surprises weren't done. As we drove back to Perth, our friends had a couple of surprises left in store. So the month ended with a little Halloween celebration. We prepared beautiful desserts, did some pumpkin carving, and got our very first trick-or-treaters to our house. So with November rolling by and no plans for international travel to resume anytime soon, we decided to pursue a dream of ours: buying a van and converting it into a tiny home and wheels, and that's exactly what we did. So after a few test drives, we decided to pick up an empty cargo Sprinter.
With no idea what to do, we reached out to our friends to help us with our van build. So after measuring and picking out our flooring, we decided to put in a window. So after calling around, we found a spot. And let's just say they didn't do a very good job.
And they put the window in the wrong place.
From there, the build began. A very exciting moment as the flooring went down and a gigantic hole was cut in our roof.
So after being with Jess for 13 years, I didn't realise just how much of a Christmas hoarder she had become, with our spare room looking a little bit like Santa's workshop. So for our anniversary, I let her put up the Christmas tree in November, which let's just say was her favourite day this month.
Oh my gosh, are we gonna make gingerbread man? It's going to be the best day ever. Oh my god.
Placing tree ornaments we had collected from around the world to decorate in the house, yep, 47 days before Christmas.
With December rolling by and the end of the year already set in stone, a little spanner was thrown into the works. With over 7 months of no community transmission at home, the borders within Australia opened, which meant Hunter could finally meet her grandparents. We booked the first flight out to Queensland with our 6-month-old and Mima, Granddaddo and my brother and sister finally being able to meet.
I'm so proud of you. Oh.
We relaxed in the warm tropical sun, had family barbecues, dips in the pool, and an early Valentine Christmas. And though it wasn't easy saying goodbye, it was still so magical that my parents could finally meet our baby.
So after abandoning our van to quickly fly to Queensland, work resumed by getting a car seat installed so our new member could join us on our adventure. The day had finally arrived and Hunter was about to experience her very first Australian Christmas. We built gingerbread houses, relaxed in the hot Aussie summer, went to Cleo's birthday party and tried to show Hunter as many traditions as possible.
It's crazy to think that just 1 year earlier we were finding out we were having a little girl. Christmas Eve was spent baking cookies and preparing our big meal. We all got matching Christmas jammies and put out milk and cookies for Santa. December 25th arrived with some footprints leading to the tree. It was such a special day opening up presents together, having a family lunch, way too many giggles and a dip in the pool before closing out the celebrations on the beach.
So as we sit here on New Year's Eve of 2020,
We're ready to see what 2021 brings.